Hey guys, look at my kitchen. Another big exciting day in my kitchen. Where are we going? What do we make it? Today we're gonna make something good. I'll tell you, this is such a great recipe for fall, autumn. The air gets a little bit cooler, gets a little damp. You're out there enjoying, maybe you're truffle hunting, maybe you're just doing some yard work, closing the pool, whatever you're doing in Italy, it doesn't matter, you know, foraging. Walk in the woods and you come in and you're cold and you're damp and you're like, man, I want something nice and warm. So today we're gonna make bread dumplings. This is a northern Italian dish and it's something I had quite often when I was young. And what's interesting about this, and you guys will get this theme often when you study Italian cooking, they're gonna use bread. They would actually, in the old villages, they would take a bakery and they would heat up this massive oven and they would make bread really just 1 or 2 or 3 days for the month. And why they would do that is you would store the bread, it would get stale. Now, we often would throw out stale bread. What they will do in Italy, at least in the old days, is they would utilize that bread that was stale and they would add a liquid to it. That way it would have substance and it was usable. So whether you want to put like a pomodoro over it, like a pomodoro, or whether you want to put stock or some kind of juices on it, wine, they've done all kinds of stuff. So today, that's kind of where this recipe comes from. It's actually utilizing old bread, and with the old bread, we're gonna flavor it, and then we're gonna put it in a warm broth, and it is good, it is delicious. So what do you say? Let's go over ingredients. Let's start having some fun. You're gonna need about 7.5 cups of chicken stock. And the reason we want a little bit more, we're gonna use some to serve, but we're also gonna use the stock to cook it in. Then you're gonna need some bread. So in this case, I've got 1 baguette. It's old, it's getting kind of stale. This will be perfect. You're gonna want 6 to 8 slices of Italian bread. Next thing you're gonna need is speck. Now, speck is similar to pancetta, and you don't wanna use pancetta for this recipe, and I'll tell you why. We want the smokiness. It's very specific to this recipe. So pancetta is cured pork belly, so it's kind of like bacon without being smoked. In northern Italy, they use speck, which is essentially very similar to American bacon, and it's a little leaner than pork belly. I did a little 50-50 just to be a little crazy, so I've got American bacon in here and half speck. You're gonna want about 4 ounces. You're gonna need 3/4 of a cup of milk, whole milk. You want that fat. And we're gonna use that, again, to absorb into the bread because we want it to stick together, kind of make like a meatball, essentially. You're gonna need some Parmesan Reggiano. Now, you could use any kind of cheese that you want. Oh, Parmesan Reggiano, so good. Next, you're gonna need some onion. I've got here a small onion, and what I've done here with the onion is I've chopped it up really fine. We're gonna cook that down, but I want it really fine. I don't wanna get big chunks of onion, and I wanna make sure I cook that down so it's really soft, really tender, and I get that caramelization, the sugar's out. It's gonna be absolutely delicious. You're gonna need about a tablespoon of high quality butter. You'll need 2 whole eggs. Anyone that watches our show often, you're gonna go, Joe, what about nutmeg? I try to add nutmeg everywhere. Now listen, I'm just telling you, this is not me. This is part of the recipe. You're gonna add nutmeg to it. Nutmeg is gonna bring warmth and heartiness to it. So we'll add just a breath of it, maybe about 1/8 of a teaspoon. A little bit of nutmeg goes a long way. You're gonna wanna add some green to it. Green's gonna give you, you taste first with your eyes, right? Plus it adds a lot of flavor. So we're gonna add some, I just got this from the store. So we're gonna add some flat parsley. Now what parsley is gonna do is it's peppery, it's very herby, and it's got a little bit of a citrus feel to it, almost like a lemon citrus feel to it. So this is gonna add a lot of flavor, but it also adds, again, that aesthetic beauty. We'll need some salt. Now today we're using gray sea salt. Hello, my little friend. And gray sea salt, French is sexy, let's be honest. I got out of the habit of using pink Himalayan, that's sexy, but we're gonna use some gray sea salt. Fresh ground pepper, only way to go. Next, my weekly commercial. I own a farm in Italy. It's in Puglia, right above the heel. I co-op with a whole group of farms, actually to bring you some of the best true extra virgin Italian olive oil. All the olives are from Italy. Everything's from the region. Ogliari is the variety. I actually named the company after my two boys, Vito and Joe. That's the Borio family right there. And I know what you're thinking, Joe, my gosh, it's phenomenal. How do I get some? I would love for you to get some too. So hit my website, Cooking Italian Joe, Facebook, the description on YouTube, our Instagram page. Just click by it now. We'd love to send you a few bottles right to your front doorstep. I was thinking of taking a trip to Italy right in a bottle. Okay, last thing, a real quick tip to make this come out absolutely fantastic is when you subscribe to our channel. So hit the subscribe, give me a thumbs up, hit the notification bell. That way anything I got going on in the farm, any trips, any recipes, it'll come right to your notification box. And as I try to share with you guys every week, I'll tell you, it really means the world to me when you subscribe to our channel. Hey, makes you part of the Cooking Italian with Joe family. First thing I want to do, I want to start cooking down my onions with some fat and oil in there. So simple. We're going to do everything out of this pot. I'm going to put the heat on relatively low. I'm going to add some Vito and Joe's extra virgin olive oil. Let's say about 2 tablespoons or so. My 1 tablespoon of butter. My speck and American bacon or speck or all American bacon, whatever you want. And again, these are going to be all oil. So the fats from our bacon, the olive oil, the butter. Now I'm going to add my onions. Now I'm going to give this a nice stir. Now guys, I'm going to go really light on my salt. Now remember, bacon is salty, so I just want to put a little extra salt in there, maybe a 1/4 teaspoon or so. Add some seasoning. And I want to add some fresh ground black pepper, maybe a 1/2 teaspoon. Give that a nice stir. I'm going to go ahead and let that cook down. And now what I want to do here is I want to cut my bread up. So I'm going to cut this in half just to make it easier to work with. And I'll cut this again in half. And now the simple thing for me to do here is I'm going to cut this in a couple sections. And again, it's a little stale, so it's tough to cut through a little bit, which is good. If your bread's not stale, then just heat your oven up to about 250 degrees and cut your bread, throw it on a cooking tray, and let it set in there for 10 or 15 minutes, maybe a little longer, and just get it nice and dry. That'll work out great. And then again, what you want to do is cut this down again. That's what I'm looking for, just that. And then I'm going to cut small little cubes here. That's exactly what I want, just like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab a bowl here, and I'm going to start putting my bread in the bowl. We're going to get ready to add some liquid to it. Okay guys, there's our bread. Looks beautiful. Let's go check our onions and speck. So we're almost there. I'll tell you, the aroma of this is fantastic. We're browning the bottom a little. Don't worry about it. We're going to get all those flavors. That'll come off with our stock anyway. And we're looking for our onions to be a little bit softer. They're not quite there. I love that our meat in there is starting to brown just a little. That's going to give us even more flavor and caramelization. Now guys, we're going to go for about a 1/2 cup or so of the chopped parsley. Easy way to do it is just take a sharp knife and kind of cut across. We're going to pull some of those stems out, so no worries. Oh, I tell you, the aroma there is just beautiful. And then just pull through any stems, just pull out. Stems will give you a little bit more bitterness. And now we're going to do a nice fine chop in here. Beautiful. I'm going to add all that to my bread. Guys, this is done. So my onions are really soft. I could push right through them. You can see I got some good browning of my bacon speck. It's gorgeous. It's just what I want. Don't worry about any of the brown fond on the bottom there. That's all going to clean up when I put my chicken stock in there. So no worries. I'm going to go ahead and shut the heat off. And I'm going to go ahead and just let this set aside. We're going to let this cool before we add it to our bread mixture. Now we're going to add a 1/2 cup of Parmesan Reggiano. Oh, look at that, look at that. I'm going to have to take a taste of that. I know what you're thinking, Joe, what about your nutmeg? No worries, I got it, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and add a good 1/8 teaspoon or more. Let's get our egg milk mixture going. So just take your 2 eggs. Now I'm going to add my milk. We're going to season and layer. So I'm going to add just a little bit of salt. Again, 1/4 teaspoon at best. A little bit of pepper. Take your whisk and get this going. Now your eggs are going to add flavor, which is great, but they're also going to add like a binding to our bread because we want this to stay together. The cheese will do that as well. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just drizzle this, put that right over the top. Now I'm going to add this. This is warm. It's not really hot. The pan is hot, but this has cooled down quite a bit. I want to add the speck, the onion, the olive oil, the butter, all of this into the bread. And now guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spatula and I'm going to start to mix this. I don't want to make it too wet, it'll mush. So I want to keep some structure here, but I don't want to keep it too dry or it won't stay together. Now this is what I've learned over the years. The bread moisture and the size of the eggs always have a big role here. So if you have to add a little bit of milk, don't get nervous because we probably are, I can tell right now. If it comes out too wet, you just cut up a little bit more bread. Almost there. This is going to probably require about a 1/2 cup of milk. Before I do that, I want to let it set and absorb here for a good 5 to 10 minutes. Now I'm going to come over to my pan, which is still warm. I'm going to add my chicken stock. Don't worry, all that flavor is going to be added to the stock. And I'm going to turn my stock on really low. Now in this case, like I said, I'm going to add a half of a cup more of milk. We've got over a cup, right? We've got about a cup and a quarter right now. Now with that extra milk, I'm going to go really slow. Yeah, you can see there. Now we're good. See how there's a little milk residue in there? That's what I want to see. Right now, that's great, and that'll absorb into my bread. Now, it's been about 15, 20 minutes, and that's right where I want it. See how it's, like if I push it together, see how it stays together? So if you push it, it stays together. That's beautiful. I'm gonna give it another stir, and now we're gonna start making some balls here. Let's go check our broth, because we want that on a bubble. Nothing rapid, because we don't want it to destroy the bread ball here. Easiest way to do this here is an ice cream scooper. One of the reasons is it's going to be able to compress it. Second issue is it's going to make everything the same size so everything will cook well. I'm going to go ahead and scoop this, and I want it pushed in there flat. If you got to use your hand, fine, and then give it a squeeze in your hand. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it into a nice ball. That's perfect. That's just what I want to make right there. We've got Henry Ford Manufacturing. So here's a plate that I'm going to use when I plumb out. Just with a paper towel, get a little fluid off. Here's my bread balls ready to go. My chicken stock is ready to bubble. You can start to see it. Now, I don't want to put these into a hard bubble, and I want to put them in real gentle so they stay together. So I'm going to literally put them on a strainer first and gently set them in. That way everything stays together. So I got a bubble going. I love it. I'm going to take my ball and then really gentle, just let it set for a good 30 seconds, not even. Now, what we're looking for here, guys, is about 5 minutes. And that's what we're looking for right there. See that? It's absolutely perfect. It's nice and solid. Now I'm gonna go ahead and set that on my paper towel here. Just be really gentle. When they cool, they'll get nice and solidified. The rest of them are great. Guys, we're ready to serve. So I wanna strain that broth. So what I'm gonna do is 2 ladles to 3 ladles of broth. I'm gonna put it right in a strainer. I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 in there. I know what you're thinking, Joe, are you done? No, I'm not done yet. Here we go. We got to put a little cheese in there. Guys, my favorite time, taste time. All right, so let's take a look at that. So these are just beautiful. You got the gorgeous chicken broth, which is great. See how nice and solid. They're beautiful. And you've got the cheese, the aroma. You can still see the seam coming off. The aroma is just gorgeous. You can't put that all in your mouth at once, even though you'd love to. So what you're going to do is you're just going to pull a piece off of there like that. Yeah, my mouth's watering. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get some of that broth right there. That's exactly what you want. I wish I could share it with you. Share a vision, taste a vision. I can't even hold the bowl, it's so hot. What I'm getting right now is the bread, the speck, the bacon for sure, and the chicken broth. I'm getting the cheese and the beautiful texture. I love the texture of the bread because it's still there. Remember we talked about that smoky flavor, which is so classic of this dish. And like I said, it's hearty. It just warms your soul. Today's that cool fall day, which is great. You're getting a little bit of the parsley, the butter, the onion. And like I said, the egg and the bread is just filled with flavor. You've got the broth that absorbed into it, but then the bread itself with the milk and the oil and the smokiness, the salt, the pepper, the onion, so good. What a great recipe. Guys, thanks so much for joining me in my kitchen today. Man, that was great. Wasn't that a lot of fun? Make sure to subscribe, hit the thumbs up, give me the notification bell. Visit me on our Instagram, our regular web page, our Facebook in the description. Grab yourself a few bottles of Vito and Joe's olive oil. We'll drop ship it right to your front doorstep. And guys, last but not least, certainly in the most important reason we make these videos, once a month, once a week, get around the table with your family, shut off the computer, shut off the cell phone, shut off the TV, make stuff, burn stuff, tell stories, have fun. You know what you're going to do? You're going to celebrate your heritage, whatever that may be, but more important than that, you're going to set traditions of love. They're going to last you a lifetime. I know they did for me. Hey guys, from my kitchen years, until next week, mwah, buon appetito.